Boy summer.
You looking healthy, son.
Yeah, like 190, man.
You look good, man.
I feel good, dude. It feels good to eat and not count carbohydrates and calories.
Yeah, we were talking about that where you like still like a little part of you is like looks at meals and goes, oh.
Well, I mean, for the last 20 years, I've been macro and, you know, I knew I had a fight coming up. Even if I didn't have a fight, I had to be in striking range from 155.
Right.
So I was always looking at the back of every label, being real cautious of what I eat. It's like ingrained in my daughter now. When we go to Whole Foods, she'll grab something off the counter and say, Dad, it only has 3 ingredients. Like, she knows what's up.
Well, it's good to think that way anyway.
For sure.
Especially with the ingredients.
Yeah, that's the first thing she goes to. Like, if she wants some chips, it only has 5 ingredients. That's like a thing for her when we're shopping.
Yeah, well, that's smart, man. That's cool. You're raising them right.
I'm trying to, bro. I'm trying to put the stuff I learned in fighting, you know, all the years to good use.
It is kind of crazy. I think it's the worst thing about fighting is the weight cutting. Can you imagine if everybody just, first of all, tell me if you agree, but I think the UFC needs way more weight classes.
I do too.
Way more.
I do too. Because the gaps are so big. I mean, just if you look at boxing compared to mixed martial arts, the jumps in weight are so big from each weight class. But also, all the shows they're putting on, they'd have more titles, more belts, more big fights. But also, man, with that, there's going to be a lot of people trying to cut a little bit extra, trying to be double champ in every weight class. I think it does cause more confusion. Yeah,
but that's better than the extreme weight cuts. The extreme weight cuts are terrible. You saw that dude a few, I guess it was about 3 events ago, who face planted and got removed off the card.
Yeah.
That is crazy. You're getting someone to the brink of death 24 hours before they have an MMA fight, which is the most, if not the most dangerous sport, one of the most dangerous sports in the world.
For sure.
And you're doing something to your body to extremely weaken it 24 hours before you fight. It's bananas.
Dude, I did it so many times. You preach it to the choir.
I know.
But there's been so many times I felt like that, like stand up too quick after a weight cut, and I'm like, you know, I might go down.
Oh, dude. I mean, I can only imagine. When you see someone like Pereira that's cutting like 25 pounds and more, when he was 185, I mean, that guy was fighting inside the octagon at 225 and weighing in at 185 24 hours before.
Right.
That's crazy.
And even when he's big, he's lean. You know, it's not like he's fluffy.
Well, they say that when you're muscular, it's easier to cut weight.
More water.
It's water.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is counterintuitive. You see a fat guy, and you're like, oh, that guy can cut weight. But you really can't, because you can't deplenish your fat.
Right. Not in a training camp's time, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, you can't lose like 30 pounds of fat, but
I don't think deplenish. I said deplenish like it was a real word.
You can dehydrate yourself.
I don't think it is a word. Deplenish?
Well, if you can replenish.
Right, but no one says deplenish.
Can you plenish?
No, you say deplete. But I just threw it out there like it was real. I don't think deplenish is a word. Is that a word?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever used it that way. Oh, okay.
Nice, man.
Nice. I got lucky. That was just luck. But I talked to Hunter about it, Hunter Campbell, and we're trying to figure out a way. Without, it has to be more weight classes. I mean, California instituted a bunch of different weight classes. I think they were doing it every 10 pounds.
I think California also did like a percentage of your body weight. Like, I don't know, what was it, 15, 20%? You couldn't dehydrate more than that?
That guy, Andy Foster, is on the ball.
And I think that's good, you know?
Yeah.
20% or whatever, some kind of rule where guys aren't cutting 50 pounds, 40 pounds.
Is still crazy. Yeah, it's still crazy.
I mean, if you're
a lot of weight.
Yeah, you're right. 200 pounds, 40 pounds. I mean,
it's a lot of weight. Well, that's another thing that freaks boxers out when I tell them that there's a weight limit at heavyweight.
265?
Like, that doesn't make any sense. I go, I agree. Yeah. Why is there a weight limit for heavyweight? That's crazy.
Dude, that gap, too, like 205, anything over that, you can be 210 to 265. That's crazy.
Crazy.
A 50-pound gap that you know, but.
Well, heavyweight in boxing, like, look, Mike Tyson, when he was in his prime, was only like 220, 215, 220. Yeah. You know, that's where when he was dominating, that's where he kind of fell in that weight limit.
I think it would be a good idea, anything past like 230, 235, super heavyweight.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the difference in boxing, though, is the grappling. The grappling in MMA, the gap, if a guy gets on top of you, is immense.
Yeah.
If you got like Ngannou, when he was in his prime, was weighing over like 300 pounds and then cutting down to 265. He was a 300-pound natural.
He's a guy who's like knockdown power for sure, but grappling, like if you get a big guy who's 265 and knows how to grapple very well, wrestled his whole life, they get in side control or half guard, you're not getting up. That's the end of the round.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, if they did do a super heavy, the fights might be either awesome or it's completely suck.
Well, I think it should be, heavyweight should be unlimited. And then you'll
Like
find
absolute.
out. Yeah. Because like Cain Velasquez, no one's holding that dude down in his prime.
Yeah.
Even when he was 240. When he was 240 and he fought Lesnar. Lesnar was gigantic. But it didn't matter because the cardio that Cain had and the speed and his technique sort of
He was ahead of his time, man.
He was ahead of his time.
He was like a hybrid, can do everything. Great cardio, good athlete before MMA got to where it's at now.
Yeah. The one fight that I always say that we missed is Cain and Fedor in their primes.
Yeah.
Because they were both in their prime at the same time, and they never made that happen.
When UFC absorbed the Pride roster and stuff, I was crazy. It's crazy that Fedor never fought in the UFC at all, man.
Well, they tried. The UFC tried, but Fedor's management were a bunch of very dangerous dudes.
Yeah, you don't mess around with those guys.
Fucking, yeah, man. There was like tense negotiations, and they wanted a percentage of the promotion. They wanted a lot more than just a big purse.
Yeah, UFC's not playing that game.
No. They were like, look, we'll give you, a very healthy purse. We'll bring Fedor over here. But the problem was when they purchased Pride, they thought they were getting everyone's contracts, but the contracts were all bullshit.
Well, some guys came over on crazy money contracts. I think Dan Henderson might have been one. I was a young fighter one time, and I was making, this might have been 2013 or something, 2014, I don't know. And they came to give me my check. This is back in the day before they wired. They used to give us checks on fight night. And they were going through the checks, and I saw Dan's, and I saw the number, and I couldn't believe it. This is before like people posting online fighter pay and all that, and I saw the numbers he was making. I was like, no way, guy's rich.
Does it make you angry?
Nah, because the future, myself looking back or looking forward when guys are going to be fighting for belts and stuff, the money they're going to make in 5 years, I'm gonna be that guy. Like, damn, I got out too early, or you know how it is. The next generation always gets more.
Right.
Mike Brown tells me that all the time. I was fighting for the belt in WEC, defending it, making this. You guys on the prelims are making more than I was making.
Yeah, there's a weird that sort of discussion about fighter pay. I've always been of the opinion that fighters should be making more money, period. Because like the same way I feel about like the way I run my comedy club, the comedians make 80% of the money. Because I feel like that's who's you're paying to see. You're paying to see them. We make plenty of money, like with drinks and 20% of the ticket sale. It's like it's enough. Like it should be if we had a comedy club and there's no comedians, no one's coming, right? No one's gonna pay just to sit there and buy drinks. Like the whole idea is they're paying to see someone's work. If you fight, that's what people are paying to see. They're paying to see fighters.
Without the fighters, there's no show. Without the comedians, there's no show. I understand. But I think the big thing with the discussion of fighter pay is the percentages.
Yes.
When you look at other major organizations like NFL, NBA, the percentages are so different.
Yeah, it's not good.
But, dude, at the end of the day, I'm all for fighter pay, too. I've been fighting my whole life. But you sign the contract, you agree. This is how business is done. Try to get more of what you're worth. You can't sign a contract and complain.
Right. That's true, too. But also, it's like the reality of MMA is if you're not in the UFC, people are not paying attention. That's unfortunate,
true.
But it's reality.
Yeah.
And I think there's some really good fighters that fight in the PFL and really good fighters that fight in ONE. But no one knows who they are other than the hardcore dudes.
Right. I got a buddy, Johnny Eblin, who was the Bellator champion.
Awesome.
Dude. I've been training with him since he started MMA, when he got out of college wrestling and stuff. Like, right now, he can go to the UFC and give the top 5 guys a run for their money. No doubt in my mind. He's only getting better.
Yeah.
Just because you fight in the UFC, that's a great organization to fight for, the biggest, the most known worldwide. But, dude, there's great fighters everywhere. Like on the mats at American Top Team, there's a dozen guys you've never heard of that can make a run in the UFC right now.
That's what I heard is the nightmare about training at American Top Team.
Because it's a revolving door, man. There's like 100 professional fighters on the mats at all times.
Yeah.
Different camps, they have dorms, so guys from Russia, guys from all over the world are just in. You never know who's going to be there. And it's tough rounds. Every practice is tough.
Well, not only that, but I've heard there's like guys coming in from Russia and they'll throw oblique kicks at your knees and you're like, hey, man, Like, what are we doing here? We're getting ready for fights. We're not in a fight.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, some of these guys are trying to make their name off of a name guy, and so you have to be very selective in who you spar with.
For sure. And that's not just American Top Team.
Right.
Especially guys who are established. Like, if I go to any gym here in Austin and it's open mat or something, I have a target on my back.
Of course.
You know, that's everywhere.
Of course.
But those guys, man, like at a big gym like American Top Team with the knowledge and the good coaches, those guys get weeded out.
That's
you know, you won't stay there long if you're doing that stuff.
The problem is if you're one of the guys that has to weed them out. Like, you find out early on, this dude's, throwing wheel kicks.
Yeah.
Full blast.
And it happens all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, just, makes sense. I mean, you're from Dagestan or Chechnya or whatever, and you come to America.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your big chance.
And I do like to train hard to prepare for a fight. You got to fight. But, you got to take care of each other. We're professionals. We're feeding our family with this.
Yeah.
An injury can ruin everything.
Well, there's so many fighters that get concussions in training, and then, they get chinny when they get into the fight. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Especially the early days. There was a lot of guys who got hit.
Me. Yeah, like the early days, we didn't really have classes that were organized, man. It was just sparring and choking each other out, and with 4-ounce gloves sparring. Like, we didn't know. We didn't know.
Isn't that crazy?
Like 2006, dude, we used to beat each other up every day. That was MMA training. And then it wasn't these super gyms where everything was under one roof. I would drive to a boxing gym, drive another 45 minutes to a jiu-jitsu gym. It was put everything together on fight night, but you would train everywhere else because there wasn't mixed martial arts gyms back then, really. I would drive to a kickboxing gym, boxing gym, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. It was all separate.
Well, also, you were in a place that didn't have like a high volume of MMA fighters in your state.
Right. Back then, like Rich Clementi, Melvin Gillard were the big guys from Louisiana,
Right.
Then Tim Crater came,
Crazy Tim got
on The Ultimate Fighter, and then I went to his gym once he got out of the TV show. And me and him trained for years and years. He still has a gym in Lafayette, Louisiana.
I love Tim. I've known Tim since I first worked out with him in like '98 at Machado's.
Well, he was in maybe the Navy, so he was in California stationed there, and I think that's when he started jiu-jitsu. He was Louisiana's first black belt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I knew him from that, and then he was fighting in the UFC.
He was always around the MMA scene. Him and Eve Edwards were good friends. They opened a gym maybe in Houston or something. He was cornering Eve in Pride, and then I met Eve through Tim. And it's a big family, man.
Eve's a guy that I always say there was a time where he was the best 155-pounder on earth.
When he beat Josh Thompson.
Yes.
He's the uncrowned champion.
He should have been the uncrowned champion.
There wasn't a belt.
I know. Isn't that nuts? Yeah. Isn't that nuts? That's so hard for people to understand, how crazy it is.
Like being through the lineage of Thug Jitsu, man, it sucks to say like that he can't say he was a champion, but I know he was.
He was.
He was the best.
He was the best. At one point in time, he was the best.
He lived out here before he moved to LA. So before I moved to South Florida to train an American Top Team, I used to drive 6 hours here and stay with Eve. He always had wrestlers down here. This is like beginning of my WEC days. I would drive down here and train with Eve, man. He was another guy who was ahead back in the day.
Yes.
Because he comes from NHB, like hook and shoot. The crazy days.
Yes, yes.
And he was doing it all. Good jiu-jitsu, good kickboxing. He fell in love with wrestling. I was such a big fan of Eve, man.
He invented some moves, too. You remember that one thing that he would do where guys were on a single and he hit a dude with a flying knee, a jumping knee?
That was, dude, I'm an MMA historian, bro.
Yeah.
That was Elite XC, I believe, maybe.
Was it?
And that was Edson Berto.
Was it?
I think Andre Berto's brother, the boxer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But that
he had a single leg. He was hopping and then jumped up and out cold.
Yeah, it was crazy. It is Elite XA. Look at you, bro.
I mean,
try that again. Look at this. This move is brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's Edson Berto.
Well,
and I believe Andre and Edson's dad was a mixed martial artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's such a slick move.
Yeah, he's so crafty, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, that head kick that he landed on Josh Thompson from the middle of that wild, crazy scramble, jumping roundhouse kick to the head.
Dude, and they still play it every opener of the UFC.
Yeah.
They still play it, as they should. I mean, it was incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, you gotta give credit to Eve. He was one of the real pioneers.
For sure.
And
way before this was cool.